Dixon Deadman, the whiskey blender known for reviving Kentucky Owl, which is now owned by Stoli, has launched the Phoenix Blend, the first small batch bourbon blend from his new brand 2XO. 2XO, which means 2 times oak, refers to Dixon's blending process in which he rebarrels his high-aged whiskey into new charred oak barrels. With all the double oak bourbons out in the market today, is this one worthy of rising from the ashes? Let's find out. It is the Mash and Drum. What's up, folks? I'm Jason C. from the Mash and Drum, and welcome back to the show. Like, subscribe, do all the things you need to do to help grow the channel. Appreciate the support. The Phoenix Blend is Dixon Deadman's re-entry into the bourbon world after he left Kentucky Owl, which was a brand founded in 1879 by his great-great-grandfather, Charles Mortimer Deadman. Now, Dixon Deadman relaunched Kentucky Owl back in 2014, and the brand was then acquired by Stoli in 2017. It is indeed a new beginning for Dixon, as I'm sure leaving a brand founded by his great-great-grandfather couldn't have been an easy decision, but one thing Dixon always knew how to do was blend. Now, the Phoenix Blend is a blend of 2 Kentucky straight bourbon whiskeys composed of 2 mash bills from different distilling partners, one with a moderate rye content and the other with a high rye content. It's bottled at 104 proof and priced at $100 at retail. But before we dive in, let's hear about today's sponsor, some of the best whiskey coming out of Texas. It is Still Austin Whiskey Company. Founded in 2015 by 3 Austin, Texas families, Still Austin Whiskey Company is a true grain-to-glass distillery. All spirits are handcrafted using grains grown by Texas farmers that have helped craft award-winning spirits that include the flagship straight bourbon whiskey named the Musician, which is right here, their cast-strength bourbon, and their newest straight rye whiskey named the Artist. Still Austin Whiskey places a high value on sustainability with a focus on cutting carbon emissions through local sourcing, increasing the biodiversity of the region through heritage grains, returning spent grains to local ranchers to feed their animals, and operating a distillery that is designed for energy efficient and water conservation. Guided by legendary master blender Nancy the Nose Fraley, Still Austin has produced musically inspired whiskeys that give a genuine expression of what Texas whiskey can be and is capable of. Every time I give these whiskeys to somebody to try, they cannot believe it is from Texas. They are that good. Want to try Still Austin Whiskey? You could purchase Still Austin Whiskey online in 20 states, including online retailers like Drizzly and Sealbox. Thanks to Still Austin for sponsoring the Mash and Drum, and hope you guys enjoy their whiskeys as much as I do. Go try some Still Austin today. All right, let's dive in. Now, this bourbon has definitely changed a lot since I first, tried it maybe last week. Pretty dramatic, actually. Well, maybe not too dramatic. That might be too dramatic saying it was a dramatic change. But I was watching my buddy Matt over at ADHD Whiskey, Matt Porter, in his review for this bourbon. I think yesterday he dropped it, and he was talking about how some people think that a bottle of whiskey doesn't change, or it does change after it opens up a little bit. Sometimes it's the person that changes, not so much the bourbon or the whiskey. I get it. Whatever side of the fence you're on, something changes, and for me, I do think it's the bourbon side of things. I mean, generally, I don't really change in what I eat or drink, so I don't think it's me. I mean, it could be, but for me, this went from a very sweet double oak type of profile to now there's a lot more dark fruit coming through here. And when I say dark fruit, I'm talking about there's a raspberry, blueberry type jamminess that's coming through on this. There's a lot of good sweet oak notes here too. I do think you get a little bit of that double oaked marshmallow type thing going on too. Now, no ages have been given for what's in this bottle. Folks are saying that it could be on the younger side. I don't think so. I think if it is on the younger side, it certainly doesn't smell that way. Yeah, good sweet oak. A lot of the dark fruit notes are coming out. That's something I did not get when I first opened the bottle. I think it was there, but it's very subtle. It's much more strong now. Again, like that blueberry, raspberry type jam. I'm also getting like a little bit of this root beer type quality to it. The nose definitely approved. Let's try it. Here we go. It's become way more balanced as well. Ooh, nice little finish to it. When you talk double oaked and double oak bourbon profiles, whether you're talking about, Woodford double oak, Peerless double oaked, 1910, or any other craft whiskey that is using a double oaked experience, Generally, those seem to be or tend to be younger whiskeys. Personally, I don't think there's younger whiskey here. I think this is a nice aged whiskey, or if it's not, it's definitely coming off that way. A lot of just really good sweet oak notes here. Nothing overpowering. They balance each other out. You know, the vanilla and caramels come through. But like I said, as this has opened up, some more layers of flavor have come out. Yeah, I'm totally getting like the creme brulee toasted marshmallow thing, but there's like a layer of like blueberries on top, or raspberries. I will say this isn't a bourbon that's completely blowing me away. It's very good, and probably, I wasn't sure what to expect from the blend, but as I'm tasting it, it's like, this is actually exactly what I should have expected. It's just a very well blended bourbon from Dixon. So once you get past the sweet oak, the toasted oak notes, a little bit of the marshmallow, some of that dark rich fruit there. Right on the very back end, you get like this smoked citrus note. It's smoke, it's citrusy, and then you get this little black pepper that kind of all brings it together. It's very well integrated. I think that if anyone gets this bottle, you got to give it a little bit of time. I don't care what anybody says, because this has definitely changed since I first had it. And I think the finish has even gotten better on this, because the last time I had it, I don't remember the finish being this good and this long. When the finish really kind of hangs around, doesn't really give you the Kentucky hug. It gives you more of a throat hug. Kind of stays right here. Doesn't really go off in too many directions. It's integrated. It's well layered. Last sip here. Man, even when I bring my nose up to the glass here, when I take a sip, just marshmallow, dark fruit, sweet oak, all comes together. And then again, the citrus and the black pepper and a little bit of that smoke note on the back end all kind of brings together. This is a really nice blend. And when you think about who blended it, it's not surprising. And supposedly, you know, we're going to see more of these as they hit the market with different blends coming from Dixon, right around that $100 price point, which is kind of the median price right now for anything new. So let's go to the final breakdown on the 2XO Phoenix blend. All right, 2XO Phoenix blend retails for $100. Secondary market value, I haven't really seen these on secondary yet, so I'm not sure. If you guys know in the comments if you've seen them already upcharged anywhere, let me know the highest you've seen it for. Availability for this bottle, I'm just gonna say limited. I couldn't really get a good read on exactly what states these are gonna be in. Apparently these are available in select markets nationwide, so that can mean anywhere at any time. I do know that Kentucky got them, here in Ohio got some. Not sure where else got some of these bottles, but as we see more of these blends kind of hit the market from Dixon, I'm sure we'll get a better read on where they're landing. Value, I'm gonna say the value here is even. Basically, any new brand that hits the market these days, you're looking at starting at $100 usually. So I'll say it's even. If there's one critique I could give it, I do wish we had an age statement of the whiskeys that he is blending, the two bourbons that he is blending in this bottle to make this blend. I do wish there was a little bit more transparency there. It's a Dixon Deadman blend who has a huge pedigree coming off the Kentucky Owl, and I feel a lot better paying $100 for this than paying, you know, over $300 for a bottle of Kentucky Owl. Most I'd pay. I think the collector in me wants to pay a little bit more to get Dixon's first blend from his new brand, 2XO, and that's, I think, something that a lot of people are willing to do. So I'll go up a little bit on this, and I'll say, you know, I'm willing to pay $120, $130 for it, maybe $150 if it was that limited. But like I said, I don't really know how limited it is, but you know, if I'm just talking about the whiskey in it, I probably wouldn't go over MSRP. Is this a recommend? For me, yes, I do like this this bourbon. I do think though, if you don't want to pay the $100, listen, we mentioned a lot of double oak products being out in the market. You have Woodford Reserve double oaked, you have the Old Forester 1910, Peerless has a double oaked at this point. There's a lot of these double oaked bourbons out in the market. And when you talk about double oaked, you could also go to finishes as well, different cask finishes. But I think a double oaked that's blended by Dixon Deadman, one of the best blenders, you know, in the whiskey industry today. You kind of talk about that aspect of it. This is way more integrated than a lot of those other double oak products that I've had. I think this has a little bit more depth to it. I do like the layers of flavor. We'll have to see how it opens up over the time, but This is my 4th pour of this, and it's definitely gotten better. So I'm just hoping it stays that way and maybe just keeps getting better over time. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review for the new 2XO Phoenix blend from Dixon Deadman. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that subscribe button below. Please hit the like button. If you haven't yet, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter. Let me know what you think of this one, how it compares to some other double oaked products that you've had. And as I always say, it's not about the whiskey, it's the people you share it with. Cheers, and I'll see you next time right here on the Mash and Drum. The Phoenix, it's rising, getting better. Cheers.